Alright, I'm Brian Vincent. I'd like to demonstrate for Team Zero Day for Phase 1 of the CSE 512 project. Alright, so stepping through the requirements. Requirement number 1 says passwordless SSH between the master and all the workers. So I'm going to SSH into itself, of course. We're good there, you can see no problems. Just to show the host file, you can see that the master's at the address I'm at, and then of course the 3 workers demonstrated, or I should say illustrated by the VirtualBox virtual machine. So I'm going to go ahead and SH into the workers one at a time. You can see no problems there. Worker 2, you can see into the host name right there, no problems there. And into worker 3, no problems there. Alright, and just to show one that I can, from the worker, I can actually SSH into the master, and no problems there. So, on to the next one, actually demonstrating that we have files under the Hadoop cluster. So what I've done for the sake of time is gone ahead and already started the Hadoop cluster, and as well as the Spark cluster, and you can see here that as I explained, as well as my virtual machine show, I've got 4 live nodes, a master and the workers. So to demonstrate the files in the Hadoop file system, I go to the browse the directory, and you can see that I've got a file user, a file Hadoop, a file data, and a couple files, CSV files here. So kind of at this user directory. So moving on, that shows that the files are indeed in the Hadoop file system. My Spark workers right here, they're all live, they're all good. So again, moving on to execute the scripts, I am going to go ahead and start the Spark shell. With adding the GeoSpark jar provided by the instructor. Alright, so requirement number 1 says it wants to create a point RDD. So what I'm going to do, go ahead and make all my imports. It's a simple copy and paste, as well as create my point RDD with this copy and paste right here. You can see I create an envelope, and here's point RDD. You can see that the file location is in fact in the Hadoop cluster at this directory structure, which we've seen before. So no problems there. Alright, now moving on to question 2 says, okay, let's start making spatial range queries, point RDDs. So what I'm going to do is make a range query, simply copying and pasting the range query, and then if we wanted to see the size of that, and we can see the points right here. Okay. Alright, on to the next one. So 2b asks us to build an R-tree index on point RDD, then query this point RDD. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to build an index. You can see I'm building an index, and then I'm going to make the same query with the index here. So, and I get 445, so that's good news. Alright, now, question 3 says, it asks me to perform a spatial KNN query. Query the point RDD using a specific query point. So, I'm going to go ahead and import my files. I'm going to go ahead and create my point. Okay. Creating a point, an official point is going to use, and then I'm going to use a point RDD using the HDFS cluster, same file. Okay, and then 3a asks us to query the point RDD and find 5 nearest neighbors. So here's the command for that. KNN query, spatial query, use the object RDD3 with the query point, number 5 for 5 nearest neighbors, and those their values are right there. And here's the size is 5 to confirm. So 3b asks us to build an R-tree index on point RDD, then query this point RDD again. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is create the index, as well as object RDD2 build index. Oh, this is supposed to be 3, that's why. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, so after I do that, object RDD3, after I've built my index, then I need to query the thing. Okay. Getting the commands ready to go. Alright, so here's my spatial query. 5 nearest neighbors. 5 nearest neighbors. Here's the points and getting the size, of course. Alright, so that's 3b. Now moving on to the spatial join query. For the sake of time, I'm going to rush through this. Copy the imports into here just to be safe. Now I'm going to create a point RDD, as the question asks us to do. Create GeoSpark rectangle and a point RDD, and then join the two without using equal gridding. Okay, so I'm using an equal grid here. So I create the point RDD, and then I partition it using equal gridding, and then using the rectangle RDD, I'm spatially partitioning it. Okay, so follow that. Now I want to join it. So here I go joining it. And this is going to take a little while, so I'm going to go ahead and let this roll. This should be much faster with the index. Once we create the index in the next step, this will be a much faster process. So the next step asks us to join the point RDD using equal gridding with the R-tree index. So first thing we're going to do here, once this value comes up, hopefully not too much longer. It is summing up quite a few points. Quite a few math calculations. Alright, and we get the number 25,743. So now we're going to go ahead and create the index. So I'm going to create all these, the point RDD, we're going to partition it using equal grid still, but here we're going to create the index. Now we're going to create the rectangle RDD and spatially partition it. Then I'm going to perform the query, and here we go. See how much faster it is. And we get 25,743. Alright, so now the last question asks us to join the point RDD using R-tree grid instead of equal grid and without an R-tree index. So let's see here. Oh, I copied and pasted the wrong stuff. Okay. And we'll perform these math calculations and we'll be done. So this is, once this concludes, this will be the conclusion of the video. Again, for project 0 day. there it is. All right, take care.